Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're just going to skip the usual roadmap because we have a genuinely fascinating juxtaposition to explore right out of the gate. We are going to build a bridge between two seemingly completely different universes. On one side, we have the ultra-fast, cutting-edge realm of modern financial technology, and on the other, the ancient, deeply rooted wisdom of biblical stewardship. Now, I know it sounds like an unlikely pairing, but as the source material reveals, putting these two concepts together actually provides a remarkably comprehensive blueprint for modern business leaders. Okay, let's dive into this, because this is the exact question staring down almost every single modern entrepreneur and business owner right now. How can business owners modernize their cash flow using fintech? It's literally the ultimate operational bottleneck. You can have a fantastic product and an absolutely incredible team, but if your payment systems are slow or if your capital is just tied up in outdated banking pipelines, your business simply cannot thrive. Our source text frames this problem perfectly, addressing that immediate pressing technical need for modernization before tying it to a much larger ethical framework. To fully grasp this, we really have to look at the bridge between two totally contrasting sets of goals. So on one side, we have modern fintech goals, streamlining operations and improving cash flow. In the business world, this is all about speed, efficiency, and removing any sort of friction. But right across from it, we have ancient biblical principles that focus on scriptural stewardship and generosity. It is absolutely fascinating to see how the modern drive for operational efficiency can actually be guided and elevated by thousands of years old principles on how to handle wealth. The technology provides the how, while the ancient wisdom provides the why. So, let's see how this builds out on the technical side first with the embedded finance revolution. We are currently living through a massive, fundamental shift in how businesses handle their money on a day-to-day basis. We're moving way past the days when banking and business software were just these completely separate, clunky systems that, refuse to talk to one another. The source text specifically defines embedded finance as adopting existing banking tools to integrate directly into a business rather than building new banking platforms from scratch. Now, think about what this means for a business owner. Modernization doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel. Instead of a company wasting precious time, energy, and just massive amounts of capital trying to build their own custom payment processing from the ground up, they just seamlessly plug ready-made financial plumbing directly into their existing software. When a business utilizes these embedded tools, the advantages are immediate and massive. First off, it streamlines daily operations, meaning way fewer manual data entries and way fewer of those annoying reconciliation errors. And because you aren't hiring massive internal finance and engineering teams to build software, it dramatically reduces your overall overhead. Most importantly, though, it improves business cash flow by clearing up those payment bottlenecks, which ensures your money moves exactly as fast as your business does. And by entirely avoiding the trap of building platforms from scratch, it really just promotes smart, lean, and highly effective management. All right, now let's pivot over to the other side of that bridge, scriptural stewardship and generosity. So we've established the highly efficient modern technical framework, right? But the sources provide an equally comprehensive framework for how we actually manage that newly optimized wealth. This spiritual lens parallels our technical modernization, asking a really vital question. Once you've optimized your cash flow, what is the actual purpose of that capital? So the crucial point is perfectly captured in this powerful quote directly from the text. Money is a tool for generosity and eternal impact rather than mere hoarding. In the framework presented by the source text, money is not an end in itself. It's not a high score on a scoreboard. It's a utility. It's a functional tool meant to be put to work for a higher, value-driven purpose rather than just piled up and locked away in a vault somewhere. The contrast here is just incredibly stark and compelling. On one hand, we see the mere hoarding of wealth. And let's be honest, that's a really common temptation in our modern profit-at-all-costs culture, where accumulation is often celebrated just for its own sake. But on the other hand, we see generosity and eternal impact. The source material argues that true stewardship is an active, ongoing process. It requires intentionally moving capital out into the world to actually do good. And ironically, allocating that capital effectively requires the exact same highly efficient, frictionless cash flow mechanisms that modern embedded finance provides. This active management of resources is literally a theme as old as civilization itself, bringing us to the parables of capital allocation. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that if we look back, ancient biblical texts actually teach structural management principles that you would totally expect to hear in a modern MBA program today. It is fascinating to see how these ancient sources map perfectly onto our contemporary corporate vocabulary. Jesus' parables aren't just abstract moral tales. They are fundamentally about how a manager handles resources. They deal directly with capital allocation, like the parable of the talents, where a master entrusts resources to servants to be actively invested rather than just buried in the dirt. They deal with ethical labor practices, ensuring workers are paid fairly and treated with dignity, much like the parable of the workers in the vineyard. And they deal with risk management, assessing what to do with an asset to ensure it grows rather than stagnates. The everyday concerns of a steward 2,000 years ago are surprisingly identical to a startup founder today. When viewing a modern business through this spiritual lens, leaders are given a super clear, comprehensive framework for their operations. First, it means allocating capital purposely, knowing exactly where your money is going and ensuring those investments align with your core values. Second, it means ensuring ethical labor practices, actively treating the people who execute your business vision with profound respect and fairness. And lastly, it means managing risk responsibly, ensuring the business is sustainable and resilient enough to weather economic storms. It's really all about combining technical operational excellence with a deeply rooted ethical compass. And that brings us to the ultimate synthesis of this explainer: value-driven financial leadership. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when you wire up the incredibly fast, frictionless tools of modern embedded finance to the ancient ethical compass of biblical stewardship. You get a business that is not only highly profitable and operationally smooth, but also purposeful and fundamentally generous. The source material outlines exactly how to execute this leadership step by step. Step 1, adopt innovative payment solutions. You really have to modernize your cash flow and embrace fintech first so that your business can operate at its peak potential. Step 2, maintain financial integrity. You need to ensure those new payment systems are transparent, honest, and completely robust. And Step 3, lead with a value-driven approach. Use the operational efficiency and the capital you've gained to actually make a positive impact in the world, remembering that under the framework of stewardship, money is a tool for generosity, not just a metric for hoarding. Which leads us to our final thought. The technology to radically revolutionize your business operations is literally already here, and the ethical framework to guide how you use it has been established over millennia. So the question is, how will you integrate innovative payment solutions with financial integrity in your own leadership? Take a moment to think about your own operational bottlenecks and your own core values, and consider how bridging modern tech with ancient wisdom might completely transform your approach. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.